Hey guys, it's Rudy with Creative Reloading Solutions, and it's blistery cold here in Western Pennsylvania, so I decided to make a couple of videos. Well, in this video, I want to talk about the 4 most common questions that I get that pertain to the Ultimate Primer Punch and the Perfect Crimp Haul Trimmer. The first question is, can I trim prime shells? Well, yeah, you can, but I don't recommend it. I mean, there's a couple reasons that I would shy away from trimming prime shells. And the first reason is you would have to take off this little pilot tip that I have on the trimmer there. You would have to remove that little roll pin, which we press fit in there so that they don't fall out. And they're just the son of a gun to get out of there. I mean, I've had a couple that I couldn't get out that they broke off, and that's a bad day if they break off inside the trimmer. The second thing is, when you're trimming without this centering tip on there, sometimes the trimmer has a tendency to wobble on the bottom of the shell, and your cut is not going to be a nice, even cut to make a perfect crimp. So, yes, it can be done. Do I suggest doing it? No. You might as well just take that shell, load it up, fire it, and then the stretching will be out of the way, and then you'll be able to trim it the proper way in using the Perfect Crimp Haul Trimmer. The second question that I get most often is, when do I use the primer pocket conditioner? Well, this, of course, is the primer pocket conditioner for one of my punches. And I tell guys, unless the shells have been shot 3 or 4 times, there's no need to compress that pocket. I mean, unless you have European primers and you want to switch back to American primers, then of course, yeah, you're going to need this to shrink the pocket. But if they're once fired shells or you've only shot them a couple times, there's no sense of collapsing that primer pocket any more than you need to, because there's going to come a time when you are going to need this, and that's the time to take the straight tip off, put this on, and get your primer pockets back in order. The third question I get most often is, what height do I trim my shells to? Well, there's no specific height. I mean, I don't have a number that I could tell you, trim all the shells to this number and they're going to turn out with a perfect crimp. Because all the shells today seem to be different in length. They all might have different primers in them. As you know, my trimmer works off of the top of the primer. So you're going to have to make an adjustment for every brand of shell that you decide you want to reload. And remember, you're just squaring up the top. You don't want to take a whole bunch off of there. And I mean, unless you're making roll crimp shells or something like that, you just want to square up that top so those folds all go to the middle and they make a perfect crimp. The last question, number 4 here, that I get most commonly is, does the Ultimate Primer Punch work on a Mech 600 single stage press? No, it does not. With the clutch system that they have on the Mech 600 press, I mean, you would be constantly taking off the resize tube and having to loosen a nut and adjust it. I mean, it just would not be user-friendly. But I do offer an oversized knockout, which is going to take care of that constricted part at the top of the hull. And it's going to allow your wads to drop in nice and smooth. And it's also going to be easy to pull back off of Station 1. Instead of yanking it off of there, sometimes they just fall off themselves when they come back down. Anyhow, those were the most, those were 4 of the most common questions that I get on the Ultimate Primer Punch and the Perfect Crimp Haul Trimmer. So that's about it for this video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.